day to you. This is Esther Davis. Guess where I am today? We are down here with the Honorable John Wiley Price, and he is doing the unveiling of the white-only sign here at Dallas County. A bit of history that we need to understand and respect. He has not arrived yet. We are waiting for people to come, but stay with us. We're going to make history today. Thank you. Good morning.
I was here at the county doing some business, and I was talking to some of the employees at the county, and they was talking about some of the racist conditions that they were facing at that time. And then one of them said that we have to every day see this white-only sign over the water fountain. And I said, what? And they said, well, come let me show you. So they showed me the white only, and you can see the print saying white only.
Where was it at the time? Was it in this area?
It was in this area here. It was on the second floor. So I went to St. Philip's, and I told Dr. Flowers, and Dr. Flowers brought the kids for a field trip. And then also, my son came and spoke before the city council. He was 9 years old at the time.
Jordan?
Right. And he told them that they need to take that sign down because that would be like having a dead rat in your wall. It stinks.
Wow.
And he told about how his grandmother and his father went through that white-only stuff. See, when I grew up, they had the white-only sign of colored water fountain. But I drank from the white.
Yeah, that's what we did in Conroe, Texas.
Right.
Conroe, Texas, that was white only, and that was a color downstairs. So we would run around and drink from both fountains.
Right. Well, I drank from it because they had cold water and a new fountain.
They had new cold water.
Yeah, they had cold water.
Thank you, Mr. Petrie. That's the part of history we want to capture today. We're here at Dallas County talking about history, the white-only sign. Stay with us, please.
Leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed me yet. We sing, oh, can't turn around. We come this far. Y'all help me out. We've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord. We're trusting in His holy word, 'cause He never failed me yet. We say no.
I think that probably says it all. And we had to come this far by faith, and we had to lean on God. And so thank you, and we welcome you to the rededication of the Whites Only water fountain. But today I think you're going to find that in the excavation of this building, these three buildings, there were some other discoveries. When we look at the 1900 plans, what we found out that incorporated and integral was the piece of segregation. It has nothing to do with critical race theory. It has everything to do with critical race facts. Lauren Woods, who was the curator for this project, son has COVID and could not, be with us today. She was here at the original launch. And so I think she's joining us probably by phone. And so I appreciate Lauren. And the reason I want to continue to talk about Lauren, because at that particular time on a 3-2 vote at the Commissioner's Court, there was an individual that said, why? Why are you trying to maintain a whites-only side? And it's not that anybody else should be made comfortable, it is the history. And the history is not theory, but history. I'm glad to be flanked by 2 of my colleagues today, Commissioner Dr. Teresa Daniel and Commissioner J.J. Koch. And I'd be remiss if I did not thank Commissioner Jim Jackson and Commissioner Mike Cantrell, who displayed courage at a time when there were people who looked like me who said we should not maintain this side. And so today, and those of you who were here when we had this building, there was a publication that called If These Walls Could Talk. And I want to thank our administration and those individuals who took the time to make sure floor by floor that these walls are in fact talking. I was telling my colleagues we have a conference room on the 7th floor, which was the last lynchings or hangings and executions in this county for African American men, right before the state of Texas went to execution. And so, if the walls could talk, but I'm not worried about the walls, I'm worried about you and how we will pass on what is not theory but history. For you young people that have come today, thank you. Thank you, and those parents who brought those young people. Because at the end of the day, this is about desegregation. Water was weaponized during the civil rights movement. You don't think much about fire hoses until you have to get hit with one. And so that's what this particular video will demonstrate in just a few moments, how water was weaponized during our struggle and fight for history. I'm going to yield, let my colleagues will have commentary, and then we're going to have another unveiling with regards to other pieces of segregation that we found in these 3 buildings, the criminal courts building, the records building, and the Dallas County Jail. Dr. Daniel.
Thank you very much for coming, and good morning to all. Good morning. I'm Teresa Daniel, represent District 1, the eastern part of Dallas County, but I'm very proud to be here to share in this presentation of making sure that these walls do continue to talk about all of the history of Dallas County. And you look around, and the building is such a combination of that history, plus a lot of new stuff, so it works, which is nice. But the one thing that I think I carry with this is lest we forget. And that is one of the major reasons why this particular display, when I was here when it was first unveiled, just the importance of making sure that all of the history is remembered. And that we continue forward, looking around and seeing other elected officials, other county staff, a lot of interested people. You see that. I mean, it takes a lot of folks coming together and talking about it, showing. And so most certainly, you can tell a smile because it is with joy that we can come together, not so much that this particular item has to be the topic, but lest we forget. So thank you very much, and thank you, Commissioner Price.
Commissioner J.J. Koch.
I want to thank everyone for being here. I am the son of a history teacher, and as my dad told me often, if history is just all the good stories, the hero stories, it's not history, it's mythology. So we're not here to mythologize. We're here to learn from our pain. And just like in our personal lives, when we make mistakes, our most poignant motivator to do the right thing is when we failed. This is where we failed. I'm very glad we're highlighting that. I'm very glad that we're going to continue to show prominently our failures so that we don't repeat them. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Daniel and Koch. We talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, and while we recognize the water fountains and the civil rights movement as all part of that era, one of the things that Dr. King always talks about is not just I have a dream, and that's how America and how we've sanitized Dr. King. But he says that truth forever is on the scaffold. Wrong forever is on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future. And behind the dim unknown standeth God in the shadow, keeping watch over his all. Ladies and gentlemen, we opened up because we've come this far by faith. And we've been leaning on somebody other than ourselves. This day we take, like Joshua, and we place the stones so that when our children ask us, what says these stones? We can say from whence we've come. That being said, I want to really unveil again the whites only water fountain here to our right. And for those of you who need to get in position, along with the door of colored women only. This is again part of that discovery. And I think Commissioner Koch put it in perspective. This is not only the water fountain, but also the door. And what we will do is we will have for each of you a book that basically talks about this building, the discoveries, and historically what we have done to make sure that this history is recorded. I tell people all the time, when I became a commissioner, the first mark we did in the Old Red Courthouse was that of Allen Brooks, where a mob broke into the Old Red Courthouse, removed him while he was on trial, threw him out the window. We marked that window, and he was dragged to the corner of Main and Ackerd, and he was lynched there. Mr. Lesberg, we're glad to see you. Commissioner Koch joined us as we placed a historical monument at the corner of Ackerd and Main, where Allen Brooks was lynched and his body was desecrated publicly at that corner. And so history is what history is. But we cannot allow people to try to reimagine the narrative. It's critical and it's fact. And so thank all of you for being here. The last thing I want to do is say, God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far along the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, my God, where we met Thee, lest our hearts are drunk with the wine of this world we forget thee. The shadows are beneath our hand, but may we forever stand true to our God and true to our native land.
Amen.
God bless you.
Lest we forget, you know. And I remember the community, there was a big discussion. Should we keep it? Should we bury it? I'm just glad Commissioner Price prevailed because you got to remember history. I mean, you can't, and you know, right across the nation now, there's a movement to bury this part of our history. But you know, I remember, I'm from Guyana, South America, and I remember the Jim Jones tragedy happened, and I woke up as a 16-year-old boy, and hanging in the background of the compound, where these folks drank the Kool-Aid, was a sign that says, those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And that stuck with me as a 16-year-old boy. I'm glad Commissioner Price says, no, we're not going to bury it, we're going to keep it. And so, and here we are today.
That song. You know you're the singer, you always sing.
Yeah.
Just a couple. Just a couple more.
We've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He's never failed me yet. And can't turn around. We've come this far by faith. Bless you. You just being nice.
No, I'm not. That was really great and very appropriate for this occasion.
Well, now, if you have time sometime, I play the piano. I know that's
I didn't know that.
You know what? I've been playing since I was 11. I started playing for the Sunday school at Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church in Conroe, Texas at 11 years old. But anyway, I played the hymns now, basically. Ask Whitaker, he's been a
And
witness.
it was great. Hymns need to be rediscovered.
Yeah.
The 7-11 music is killer. 7 words, 11 times. No, it is. Because, you know,
Yeah,
there's
that's right.
nothing
That's right. Think of it that way, but you're
I mean,
absolutely right.
yeah, when you think about yield not to temptation, for yielding is sin.
Yeah. It is no secret.
Yeah, well,
God,
it's a story in there. Now we just got into this, you know, and it's good. After you get in the groove, you tired up. You know?
Well, that's a good idea. We can have her introduce the hymns duo.
Yeah, in that way should be. I do the hymn series. Yeah.
That would be
It would be
great.
good. It would be. Yeah.
Because there's a meaning in the song.
Yeah, and give it to young people to sing.
Yes.
Let the young people sing. They ain't gonna learn it no other way. Ain't no hymn books in the church. You know.
Oh my God.
We losing everything, man. Now, hymns and collard greens, we lost it.
Well, you heard it here first on the Ester Davis show. We're talking about hymns with the president
I
of
got
the
good in my own
NAACP.
ring now.
But I need to ask her a couple of questions. Why are you here today?
I am here in support of the re-unveiling of the Whites Only Fountain. I think this history is terrible. We need to know our history because it's our history that compels us and propels us into the future. And if we do not know our history, then yes, we're bound to repeat it. But more importantly, it lets us know how far we've come, but yet just how far we have to go. So I need to come here and to see this because for me, in my age, though I never witnessed it, I've heard about it, I've read about it. And so it helps keep our history alive. You know, it's like the Black family reunion. We come together so that we can share our stories. And I think this is one of the stories that is worthwhile telling. And we need to be reminded of just where we've come from.
Thank you very much. Lady Mache, President of the NAACP Dallas chapter. We'll be right back.
Come to North Texas, and we did the immediate rescue of that. It was in the wall, we cut it out and take the old fountain out before it got destroyed, you know.
Okay.
So,
How difficult was that to do? I mean, especially since this building was built in the 1920s.
Lauren, the artist, was very particular. I mean, and so we had to, you know, she was right there the whole time, you know.
Yeah,
Just cut stuff out and paint stuff out, and go on the back wall back there and take stuff out.
Well, how do you cut that out? I mean, is there a special tool that you use to cut?
Diamond blade saws.
Diamond blade saws. What did it cut? How long did it take?
A couple of days.
A couple of days.
But be very careful. You know, I mean, this is important.
Yes, yes it is. Did you expect it to crumble? I mean,
No, that particular stone is called Tennessee pink.
Tennessee pink.
That's what's all over the old building.
Oh, wow.
It's a pretty substantial stone. You know, all these marbles have different characteristics and everything. That's a pretty tough one.
Well, I really appreciate the history, Mr. Freeman. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Just telling you.
I was working in corporate America, and Commissioner Price was doing baby steps across the road at Von Newell. Those of us in corporate America found ourselves part of your defense team because people didn't like it. They didn't want you holding up the traffic. They didn't want this happening. And part of our day was, do you know Commissioner Price? Yes, and my next statement was, I am a fan. So that sort of cut it all off. Today is so important to us. I'm from Conroe, Texas. I remember the black-only signs, the white-only signs. I remember when you did not go downtown Conroe. My parents did not allow that. So all of this history comes to the forefront. We have to know what it is. Thank you so much. That's what I really want to say publicly. And I know today has been so important to you.
It has been. But it's more important to see these young people. Of course, I'm not going to put it all on them because there's a lot of people who it's our age who have dropped the torch. You know, if nothing else, they have ascended on the backs of our people, but yet and still, they're not carrying forth what they know to be, as Dr. King said, true. And so it bothers me. It doesn't matter what job it is. And even King talked about sanitation workers and it's going to be the best. King understood all of that. But again, we have sanitized King. We've allowed America to sanitize King. And so as a result, then we don't understand what this man is talking about. Everybody's praying for rain and for water. But water was weaponized to talk about.
And when you think about something so simple like water that is supposed to be free to all of us and the world being
Three quarters of the earth is water, 3/4 of our body is water.
And they control water to human beings.
That's right.
Well, the same thing is happening today. The immigrants that are being bused here and there. But most importantly, we want to say thank you to the commissioner because so much of our history has been covered up. But you know what? We can get the word out to you. I want to say hello to Mr. Freeman. Mr. Freeman just gave me some information I did not have about the stone. Would you repeat that for me, please? Come in a little closer, please.
Well, I'm a marble company, the oldest marble company in North Texas. Can't tell a little of me. I've been doing it a while. But, you know, Lauren first started this, we had to very carefully tear all that old stuff out and preserve it. And it was quite a job because that's the pickiest lady I ever dealt with. And I mean, everything was counted as a precious object. And we respected that. We had to tear out the wall behind there and go around in it.
And then I asked him how long did this take, and he said,
A couple of days.
couple of days. Couple of days.
So we have little diamond saws, you know, we cut out the
Well, we
stuff.
appreciate your part in this history-making event. Our commissioner, as far as our research shows right now, is the only commissioner in the United States that has done a deed to his people. So, what can you do to propel and to keep our history. The Honorable John Wiley Price and the gentleman that removed the stone,
That's
Mr.
right.
Freeman. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you.